Welcome, avid anglers, to another live match video. We are back at Shiplate for the second round of the Silvers League. Drawn peg 8, which isn't a great draw. We've had the first frost of the year and this end of the lake's a bit shallower, so that doesn't bode well for me, although it's a beautiful morning as you can see from the camera. So what have I set up? I've set up at the end of here to loose feed maggots or casters. I've set up a line here to fish positively with ground bait, so sometimes even when it's cold, positive ground bait approach does work. I'm setting a line up over here towards this aerator, and the fish pellets over there. That's going to be like a tip-tappy, scratchy line, scratching about, and then over towards the island. I've also set up a feeder rod, in which I'll start on that probably today. Just give it an hour, half an hour, and just see what happens. Maybe we can nick a couple of early fish whilst I'm feeding this short line. I'll obviously start boiling in straight on here, but I won't feed anything on the pellet line. I should only put pellets in if I'm going to fish it. So in my mind, the plan is give it an hour on the feeder, then drop onto the positive line and see whether anything's happened. I suspect nothing will have happened at that point, and I'll make a decision on whether to top up based on what I've seen other people catching or not. Then I can drop into this short line here where I've been throwing bait from the start, you know, not aggressively, but bits and bobs. And then if we've got nothing happening in any of these, we go over to the emergency pellet line where we're just going to try and scratch about. And I'm sure the pellet line will come into it at some point because it's going to be a tough day today. Freezing cold. It's the first frost we've had down here in Somerset, proper frost that we've had down here in Somerset this year, so it's going to knock the fish for 6. That's why I've left the worms in the bag today, so I think it's too much of a risk. So there we are. That was a long introduction, but at least you've got an idea of the thoughts that are going through my weird little brain. Let's see how we get on. Just waiting for the all in now. Going to start the same as I did last week. 4 of these, not last week but a fortnight ago. 4 of these full of loose ground bait, out of the ground bait line, and some castaway over the top. That's Tom's green intelligence. There's the all in. There we go. So we're ready. So 4 of them straight in. It's absolutely flat calm today. And they're going out on a line that I've identified, and I've sort of, it's pretty flat around here, so there's no real features. So what I've done is I've gone for good reflections. And what I mean by good reflections is I know exactly where my bait is based on the reflections, which will allow me to feed over the top accurately with a catapult and know whether or not I'm sort of feeding anywhere near where the bait's gone in. I'm not fishing to the full extent of my pole, so I've given myself opportunity to fish past if I want, or to the left or to the right, and put another line out past if I don't want to be on the ground bait, or all sorts of things can happen with these fish. A little open-ended feeder, little open cage feeder, 2 maggots on the hook. The maggots have been suffocated down in the bag for 24 hours and they're not quite come round yet, which is nice because it's like fishing dead maggots, but they're very, very fresh. They'll come round in the next. I'm going to try a little bit of this, which is Tom Thick's crushed milled expander. That is just black stuff. What I'm going to do is just gently plot this. That's a very light feeder. Just want minimal disturbance and see if we can catch a fish. Doing that. I'm writing where I want and what I haven't done, I've just realised. I haven't got me keeping it in, so I'm going to turn off and catch you later. Right, 1 hour update. Feels like, right, I've been on the feeder for 50 minutes now. And I had 1 very small fish on it. They had a few bites on it, but they're just giving me the impression that they're small fish. These bites that we've had are not very, just, you know, they're not positive. They're little tiny dips and touches, and I'm having an odd sucked maggot, and it's just not right. So all the time I've just been throwing 4 or 5 maggots on the shoreline. Still doing that. But I'm just going to go out over the main feed area where I put the 4 balls of ground bait in, because I'm going to go straight on it first because I've seen some signs of fish there. I don't know whether they're carp or whether they're bream or whether they're small fish, but there's been dimples and bubbles and things going on. So this is my first pot over it, so I thought I'd turn the cameras on while I'm doing the one. You can see it dimpling now while the float's sailing. So I thought I'll turn the cameras on while I'm doing a 1 hour update. Or maybe we'll get lucky and hook something, maybe we won't. There's definitely fish over this area now. I can see lots of dimples. Just hoping that they're not all peckers, but at the minute I've got to take anything I can hook. You may find we've got to go past because there's too many fish there. Silty bottom, and they're not finding the upbait. Let's just give it a chance. He's fishing very hard. Guy to my left. Seem to have a couple of nice skimmers on what I think is corn. I think he's fishing corn. I've seen one other nice fish come out of my section, which Ron had 3 or 4 pegs round to my left, and I can't see the last guy in my section from here. I'm sort of at the end of the section. The guy to my right, who you can't see, well I can't see either, he's in the next section. So there's no gap or anything, it's not like an M-peg, but I'm told by John, the bailiff, that I'm at the wrong end of the section really. I can see the guys down in the other section, the best section down the bottom there where I was last time. I can see a few fish coming out there. There are fish feeding. Seems to be quite patchy at the moment. I've got a sneaky suspicion I'm going to be on the pellets pretty quickly, because if I don't get any sort of indications on this, I'm not even going to top it up, I don't think. There's definitely fish there. I'm just going to keep putting odd caster on it. No line bites, no indications. A very sensitive little setup I've got on this boat, so anything that's anywhere near the bait will indicate me a bite or a dip or whatever. There we go. 1 hour update is I've got one tiny little skimmer, literally this big. I had a couple of bites off those fish on the feeder, but I couldn't hit most of them. Or they weren't hooking themselves, really, is what you want. Striking it, but oh, there's a float's gone under there, and we've got little tiny roach. It could be what's giving me bites out there. Who knows? So, 2.5 hours in. I started up a new line to my left. I had a line to my left where I was going to put pellets in and I went on it. I just couldn't see the float properly. So I replumbed into an area where I could see the float properly. I started to put it on. I've had a nice skimmer over it, about a couple of pounds, and I've had another skimmer over it, about £1/2, and then I've had a couple of roach over it. It's gone dead, so I've just gone back over the main lines, checked them out, nothing. Topped them up. And now I'm going back out of the pellet line. Not fed it this time. Just want to see if there's anything there still, and I'll feed it again. So just being really cautious with it. So it's been the best line already. It's been my most producing line. I've only been on it for half an hour. It's produced more bite, more fish, more weight than the rest of the swim all day. So something wrong somewhere. It's like a shot's come off or something. The float didn't want to settle then. It settles this time. That's it, settled this time. Straight under. Little tiny fish. Look at that. Drawn in by the ground bait. And they're a pain in the buttocks. I'm going to put a little bit more ground bait in, just see if we can draw a couple of better fish. A few of them little tiny things. I wonder if that's what happened before. I wonder if that's what was holding the float up. Do with a couple of decent skimmers to get us back in it. I feel like getting beat left and right at the moment. There's a damage limitation down here in this corner on this peg, but you've got to try and do something. It's not fast and furious, doesn't need to be. never going to be. It's a rock hard day. There's lots of moaning going on. You just got to keep the lines ticking over. And you know, sometimes you just get half an hour spell with these fish. And if I don't catch anything on this pellet line this time, or anything better, then I shall just simply move. Start a new line up. Yep, so the update, 2.5 hours in, is I've got a couple of fish. I'm kind of in the mix again. Not in the top of the section, I don't think, but I'm not now. I'm probably not now bottom, but I can't see everybody in my section. But really the only thing I'm catching on is pellet. The only line I've caught any amount of fish on is my pellet line. I've not caught on the feeder really. I've not caught over the positive line yet. I've not caught short, although I've stopped feeding that loose feeding that because I feel like it's not tight enough, so I've just been putting maggots in a pot and just putting it every now and again just to try and keep them tight. And just letting that settle and let the fish, you know, sometimes then big perch will come and gorge themselves on a pile of maggots and you can nick one. Well, we are. We'll have to wait a little bit. We've got one. Such a delicate little bite that was. It's a skimmer. Not a roach. It's not an elusive skimmer. But this is definitely the way to go. Pellet is the way to go today, it seems. Just a nice size, bit bigger than size really. So you catch another one for the same feed. So I probably would have cut a bit out there, but that's taken at least 5 minutes after that feed went in for the float to go under. But I would have cut out a lot of time for you guys, so it's not boring. Right guys, just flipped on the chest cam so you can see land there. This is the second fish I've had today. This size. I've just set up a new line with the pellets. Straight on it. And add him straight away. Right next to where I've been feeding them on the main line all day. Can't get a bite on it. Just set a pellet, little tiny pellet, swim up. And you get one of them. Absolutely brilliant. That's what happened last time, and then when I went out the next time I didn't get one. Didn't get a better one. So I just thought I'd turn you on to see that. Because it might be all the fish we get on this video. That is massive, 2 of them. Alright guys, we're just coming into the last hour now. I've had another one of those nice bream that I just showed you. So I've got 2 of them now, 3 of them now in total. I'm just putting 3 pellets in and a little pinch of ground bait in. Fine if I put 3 pellets and a little pinch of ground bait in. Little tiny pinches of ground bait like this. Just to sort of wedge it into the corner so it don't jump out your pot. I found that when I've done that I've had a fish, so I'll do it again. Just tried it without doing it and it didn't work. So I've got 3 skimmers that probably get £6 in total, or maybe £7 for the 3. I've still got 2 pounders. So just got to be so careful because I'm fishing at 14.5 metres. Now what doesn't make any sense is I'm literally fishing a section past where all the main bait went in. If I fish over the main bait I ain't been getting any bites. If I just fish past and just drop a little tiny bit of feed in, I seem to catch them off the back of it. Well, I've caught 2. I've caught 2 and a tiny little skimmer so far. So I'm not exactly emptying it, but based on today's level of feeding and stuff like that, is quite good. Let's try another feed. I'm a bit impatient now. My arm with a better skimmer. Quite as big as this one. It's a little tiny one. So we're all done, just waiting for the weighing to come round. I ended up with like 4 of them nice skimmers. I moved again and I just kept getting them. So obviously, you know, I'd used up all my moves. I tried short for the last 10 minutes and I set the line up short just past where I'd been feeding. To get an indication on it, I thought perhaps it was about to go with a better fish in the peg, but ran out of time. At the moment, if I had to, my gut feeling is I'm very low down in the section, but everybody's complaining they ain't got much, but you know, there's not got much and there's not got much, so we'll see. But still feel like the guy around to my corner to the left there did well early on. That might be enough to win it for him. I can't see what the rest of the section's doing, but as I'm saying, or as I'm ranting on now, the results will be coming up next to me, so you'll be able to see if I'm miles out from what I think or whether I've got it bang on. I think I might be 3rd or 4th in section, but that, you know, if you had to push me on a result, I'd say I'm probably about 3rd, but I could be last, could be 1st. It's that tight. Cheers, guys.